Welcome back to codingcat.dev, where we give you cats the freshest dose of dev snacks. Brought to you by Cloudinary, build faster with AI-powered image and video APIs. Welcome back, perfect peeps, to codingcat.dev podcast. We have the full crew in house. It's awesome. Britt's here. I'm here. It's amazing. It's so hard to do this anymore, it seems like.
Well, yeah, we have so many of them. It's hard to schedule, right?
It's tough to schedule to keep going. I told somebody the other day how many podcasts we do a year, and they're like, "What?" Yeah, we try for 52. I don't know that we've made it in a minute, but we'll get there.
Wow.
We also have Richard Bray in the house. What's up, Richard?
Hello.
Richard
everybody?
actually joined us for our 2023 kickoff. And I'm like, hey, will you come back on? He's like, I was just on. I'm like, I think I'm going to make it a yearly thing. Like, try it, bring you on for the first one each year. Plus, Richard's been crushing it on TikTok, so I gotta like jump at him and like figure out how he's making this TikTok thing happen. So,
happy to share tips and tricks if you have any questions.
Get the algorithm.
Yeah, he might be the algo. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, so we got a couple things to break down there, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Richard's TypeScript as well. So for those who haven't met you before and are too lazy to go back a year and go listen to it, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Richard?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a full stack developer, just working for a London company. Well, I was working for a London company, but I've stopped for reasons. So I'm making content, mainly making content on the side. And I've done a few courses for Treehouse. I've got a few other courses in the pipeline coming for other companies. And I've been doing a lot of stuff on TikTok and Instagram. And people seem to like it. People seem to enjoy my short videos. So that's been really good for me.
Right, but what's the secret?
The secret is that subtitles and nice pictures.
I'm actually surprised to hear that Instagram was just in that. Like, I haven't heard people even mention Instagram for a minute.
Have you not? It must be a UK thing then. Instagram is really popular. There are lots of devs on Instagram.
Are there? Yeah, I mean, in the dev community, especially, like, I haven't heard of it, but I know people like Instagram and use Instagram. But since Threads came out, it kind of switched a little to that. But still, like, for that platform, I assume with video, it's still Instagram.
Yeah, no, Instagram Reels are really popular. Instagram is my most popular social media platform. So
wow.
Yeah.
So you brought up a fun one there. Do you know anyone using Threads actively?
I know someone in the UK, like a few UK people, but yeah, I'm sure that they cross-pollinate between Twitter.
I know people that cross-post. I don't know anyone that uses it as like their main social.
Yeah, I don't know any Thread stars. That's awesome. Britt, what have you been up to? We're gonna cruise into 2024. Like, what's happening?
Are we gonna talk about this?
Yeah.
We're gonna. Oh well. This is 2024, and
like
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Do I have to just celebrate right now? Like, we won. Ha ha ha. So
good luck.
We are pre-recording this, folks, if you can't tell. And there's a kind of massive game that's going to occur between my team, the Michigan Wolverines, and some other gross team. What are they called?
Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh,
Roll Tide.
Those people. So Brittney and I have agreed that we don't have to be friends for at least 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long it is.
I just need to scrounge up some Alabama fans to watch the game with.
Yeah, so normally I would probably do everything to fly out to the Rose Bowl and watch this game, but I'll be in Disney World, so can't make that happen this year. Yeah.
Joe's working. I was thinking about the same thing, and I'm like, oh, my husband's working, so I don't think we could go either. But that would be amazing.
Leave him home.
Just go without him. That wouldn't be very nice.
Allie's running a half marathon, so I gotta support her. I was supposed to be running the dopey, but things have gone awry at the end of 23 years, so unfortunately I won't be. Anyways, Mr. Richard Bray, who is your team? Do you watch Do you watch what we
Do you
call
watch
soccer?
American football?
That's American football. I don't. I mean, there are people in the UK who do watch it, but I don't watch it. No, it's not popular here at all. In terms of sports, oh, go on.
Are you a regular soccer fan?
No, I'm not. It's popular at school. I was. I'm not so much now, but it is really popular in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah. We actually, I'm not allowed to say the name, but we host a very large football team and a couple of its subsidiaries at Fusionoth. So it's super cool to watch when the games occur and like all the traffic comes in and then it all kind of falls off. So it's pretty fun to watch those guys come in. I'll tell you off air who it is.
Looking forward to it.
That's awesome. All right. I'm going to play our ad and then we're going to dive into TypeScript.
Cool.
Cloudinary allows you to remove any unwanted backgrounds, so you can reuse assets efficiently. You can also erase objects and people from images for placement in new experiences. For more engaging content, easily turn static images into dynamic animations, and rely on smart cropping to always deliver assets with a focus on the most relevant objects to your brand. Cloudinary Programmable Media. Build faster with AI-powered image and video APIs.
All right, Richard, you have 2 amazing courses that I know about. You might have even more, but let me throw one up on screen that we can take a look at real quick. So this is your TypeScript basics that you wrote a little while back. Can you break down kind of like why you decided to go down this road and talk more about TypeScript?
Well, this is actually the first and only TypeScript course on Treehouse. So they approached me with this idea, and I was happy
I love
to
their
do it.
logo, by the way. Their little like
the frog
hand thing.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
It's cool,
So
but it's not really
approached you?
Treehouse related. Oh yeah, no, they approached me. Yeah, they approached me, and I was happy to work on this because I've done TypeScript in the past. I've done the TypeScript course on YouTube in the past, and so this made a lot of sense to do.
I was going to say, it's not really Treehouse related. It does kind of look like a branch, though, of a tree.
The frog hand?
If you look at, if you look at it as like the offset.
Yeah,
I love their favicon, however you say it. It's like colored.
I can't see that one.
Oh man.
So when you go through this course, I think I watched the first bit, this like getting started portion of it. Can you tell people like what they'll actually learn about TypeScript? Is it for people that have never written it, or for people to like, hey, you've written it before and you're like Alex, who is like, I kind of get it, and like you can dive in further to it? Who's this meant for?
Yeah, so this is for people who have never written TypeScript before. So people who are brand new, just want to know what it's about, how to use it. So this is for them, and I touch on kind of basic concepts. So I don't go deep into TypeScript things, just enough for you to understand how to use it and what to do if you have a project that uses it. Yeah.
Is this? I didn't like I said, I didn't jump into the kind of more advanced. Does it tell you kind of how to write, like how to mash 2 of these? What are they called? Integrations together?
Yeah, I know what you mean. There is a bit about unions. I think
unions.
It's
there we go.
Yeah, somewhere a bit lower down.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, unions and intersections.
That's the kind of stuff that always like really messes me up when we start to talk about, like, I think I do a base type even for Coding Cat where I'm like, okay, everything has like a title, a name, excerpt, like those sort of things. But then when you do a podcast, well, now I need like a season and an episode, but I still need all those other things. I still get like so screwed up when I say, okay, like this is coming into this page. It can be of this base type, or it can be like, or should I put
it extends it, right?
Yeah. So like you do an extension of it, but like it can, for our content types, it has like anything of this base type you can use. Like it's okay.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like how you run into that?
I think that can get a bit confusing, and I guess that's why learning about type narrowing helps because you can narrow down the exact type that you want to use. But yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. So you've got multiple types, and the thing can be either one of these types, but I guess you don't know until you have the data.
Right.
Yeah. But that's when narrowing, I guess, comes in.
Can you do like checking on that past that? So like, oh yeah, you're good. Like we have the data coming in, but then can you say, is it of type podcast?
Yeah. So you can use the type of keyword in TypeScript to narrow down. So if it's type of, I don't know, like podcast, then it will infer that type onto your variable or whatever you're using. But
I actually
it is
do
quite
that.
weird. Yeah, I'll go on.
I use that in my design system. I have an icon type, and so I have like the color and the size and everything built into like an icon type, and then I'll pull that into other types, and I do type of icons, and it will just kind of extend it as the type of the icons.
Yeah. No, it's really important to know how to use that, because you can have multiple types, and you need to select the one that you want to use for your scenario.
Oh, another one in Svelte that always gets me is the Svelte component. If you're trying to use a Svelte component and you want to do that, you have to do type of Svelte component, and that one always throws me off when I'm trying to type a Svelte component.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy because they're ambiguous. They're kind of like a polymorphic component. You could bring in any component to it, so you can't directly type it.
So the overall, like when you write a Svelte file, you can put that becomes a component, right? Like that overall thing you can't type. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but if you want to pull that into another thing, you can use the Svelte component tag, and then the this block. If you want to type this tag, then that has to be type of Svelte component.
Interesting. I never knew you could like actually type those out. I always typed like the data element like coming into those, or like whatever parameters might be coming in, but I didn't know you could do the whole component. That's really cool. TypeScript.
I've only used Svelte once, and I thought, not for me, not right now, but maybe in
not
the future,
for
you. I'll get into it a bit more.
I think we just hit a solid segue there. So you have a React course as well, right?
So
isn't this you?
Oh yeah.
I love it. He's like, do I have
I've got another React course coming up in the future. I thought you had like future knowledge of
oh.
Oh my god.
No, yeah. So
Alex, how did you find out?
Yeah. Yeah, this is me a long time ago. I'm actually not super proud of this course because I've got a lot better since. So
sure. I mean, it's 4 years
old.
old. Yeah, it's out on Udemy, but I thought you were heading into this Rick and Morty thing. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it.
I feel like React content is really hard to like keep up to date too. So a lot of the stuff you do find on Udemy, if it's not something that the content creator is like updating, then it's difficult, especially in our world where everything moves at the speed of light and changes so often.
Yeah,
I feel like it's incredibly hard with any front end development period to like put out a course and keep that updated unless that's like your full-time job. Like it seems like it's unbelievably hard. And like a new concept will come out and you're like, oh, people really should be using that. They shouldn't be using it this way. But you're like, man, I wrote that course 6 months ago and it took me X long. Like it's just exhausting to try to keep up with.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen content creators like James Quick just put out that Astro course and they launched the new version of Astro like the day after.
Oh yeah.
I'm so sorry. It's just awful.
It's like brutal too. And like, he worked on that thing for
and I mean he went back and updated it, but it's like that's so much work.
And it's the little things too. Like it might like that was probably a Astro 2 to 3, I would assume. Like
I think
full. And
it was a full,
when some of this stuff, like it's a minor release, they'll release something like an Angular. They kept doing this to me when I was writing courses, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that kind of changed the whole game. Why did you do that? And it's not like it isn't backwards compatible, like it totally works, but you wouldn't suggest that to someone going in and learning it for the first time. So it's a little frustrating.
There's a big one of Svelte that happened where they had like plus pages or something like that, and I worked on the site before they had that change, and they released it during the development. It was just like such an effort to change the whole filing system to do that.
Well, one good thing I will say about the Svelte ecosystem is typically the maintainers will put out a migration command. So usually migrating is not that bad. That one was particularly bad because we were still in beta and it was moving to Svelte Kit 0.1. But I think if you've heard any news about Svelte 5, like things are changing drastically, but all of that is going to be backwards compatible and opt-in. So you're going to be able to kind of incrementally update when you get the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I was messing around with Astro the other day, and I was like, sure, I'll take Svelte at latest, and it wouldn't work for Svelte 5. It's the first thing I've hit. I was like, oh, this is
Well,
not
Astro,
going
yeah.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. I want to know more about your, I'll call it socials, but like we talked a minute about this. And I know we talked about it last time, but that's where I see you all the time, is kind of out there floating around. So I need to know how you do, like, how do you come up with this stuff? It's unbelievable. Like, let me play one of these for the folks. I don't know if I can get the audio through or not, but let's see. I probably have the site muted too. Hang on. Unmute. Or I just won't get it. So here's Richard, and it's very distinct, like, and it's very clear, like all of your messaging. I love it, but
do you want me to talk, or are you trying to do audio stuff?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you guys hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but
okay.
You can't. Okay.
We can hear you. We can't hear the video.
Oh, you can't hear the video. Dang.
No.
All right, it's too good. The browser's too good. It's blocking it.
Okay.
So yeah, essentially, like, Richard's breaking down like style components with AI. Like, what do you just wake up in the morning? You're like, hey, I'm going to talk about this, or do you create like this crazy content calendar and you're like, I'm going to do these 20,000 videos this week? How's that work for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So mostly it's stuff that people ask me. So people say, oh, in the comments, can you talk about this? Or I look at someone else's comments and I see, oh, somebody else mentioned this, but no one's done a video of it. But the two videos that you showed were from different companies. So handle videos like a pro. So the one that's the newest video is Mux. I don't know if you've heard of Mux. They
the video
post videos. Yeah. So somebody from Mux was in a Slack group, and then I mentioned, oh, I could do video for you. So they built this new thing, which is Next Video, which is a cool way to have videos on Next.js websites. And so I did a video for them, and they liked it. The other one is for another company called Mighty Meld, and they're a US-based company. I think they're based in San Fran. I don't know, but they built a really cool tool to design React apps in the browser, so you can drag and drop components in, and it will update your source code like you've written it by hand. You can change the styles, and you can use an AI assistant to generate the styles for you using Tailwind or Chakra or whatever design system you use. And it's really cool, and the founder is really cool as well. So I was happy to do this for them.
Nice. And then, like, when you switch over to like TikTok, are these also the same? Or because I noticed like you're kind of doing different angles and like things like that.
For the most part, they are the same. There are some things I put on Instagram that are not on TikTok, and so I started out on TikTok. So the early videos are not on Instagram, but for the most part, they're the same.
Very cool.
Do you have a studio set up, or how do you do your recordings?
So this setup is what I use. I've got two lights, one light here, one light there. A light behind me, which is making it blue, but it's not actually blue. A camera over here, which shouldn't be showing this cable, but I'll fix that later. And yeah, so it's that, and that's pretty much it. I've got like a skylight in the background, but it doesn't do much. So yeah, this is the setup I use. Well, of course, the mic, and I edit it well afterwards to make it look professional.
Awesome.
I have to ask too, are you reading it like off a teleprompter? Because you're so good at that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I always use a script. But before Treehouse, I never scripted. I did everything just off the top of my head. But since Treehouse, I always use scripts.
What do you use, an actual teleprompter, or is it just a written script?
I wish. My dream is to get
the
Elgato teleprompter. But no, I've got text on my screen. I just read.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really good. Like when you do it, I think you've probably discovered something with that script reading side of it that really changed like your pattern. Like I watched some of your early stuff, and like now, like you've obviously you're talented, like you figured it out, and like you got to a level where like you probably could do it without, but like having it there, I think you know exactly what's going on, and it's
Thanks.
awesome. So go
Yeah.
I
follow him.
feel
Go follow Richard. Go follow Richard Oliver Bray.
I feel like my brain malfunctions if I don't have a script or something in front of me, especially with those short videos. I don't know what it is. It's like you think you could memorize like just a minute long thing, but it's just
Yeah.
my brain just shuts off.
I
Yeah.
can't even tell you how many times like I've written one and like I just look up here and I'll read a sentence. I'm like, that was wrong, and I'll like redo it. I'm like, wow, thank you for editing, because this is so horrible right now. And it's usually one of those things where it's like I worked all day, it's 9 o'clock, I'm trying to get this thing out or done, and
tired.
it's like I can't even think anymore. So it's so bad.
Yeah, I think for me it's pronouncing things and making sure I say things at good speed, because sometimes I might speak too fast or I might mumble or something. So just having the script and making sure I'm speaking correctly and enunciating correctly and having the correct inflections on certain words really helps.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Good stuff. Do you do the same on YouTube, or you do different
So
things, right?
YouTube is really interesting. I started out doing long form kind of 16:9 videos. And I haven't done one of those in a long time, purely because the shorts are a lot quicker to make, but also I'm doing a lot of courses in my spare time. So I don't really have time to do shorts and courses and long form videos. So I just need to find a balance between how often to do those. But they're less popular, the long form ones, for some reason. So I just do them less.
I was going to say that too. Like it's probably harder, especially if you already have kind of a short form audience, to get into that long form content. And it's very different, like the stuff that you can talk about and go into. You've just got to find that algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
What fits.
I've been finding it interesting, even for our podcast. Like there's so much more interest in the short form stuff. So we've been breaking out our like the first 10 minutes. I actually do the full thing, but pretty much it takes the first portion where we're like getting to know someone like yourself. Like it'll chop that up and put that out. It's wildly more successful than our like hour long podcast, or 45 or half hour or whatever it is. It's crazy to me. Like we'll get tens of thousands of views.
Oh, really?
Versus like, I don't know, hundreds or like 1,000 type of thing. It's nuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's fun. It's all a game. You got to figure out what the people like. For me, like I still love doing this style though. Like I love getting out with people and like chatting about them. I always tell people, like someone told me the other day, like, oh, you're just hunting for people with like a large following. I'm like, I'm not. I'm totally not. Like
We've talked to people, like we talked to people from OST where you used to work. Like we talked to everybody.
I know. They're like trying to call me out, and I'm like, come on, like don't be ridiculous. Like I go out to GitHub every day, I see what's trending, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting to me. And then I pick it and I see if they want to like talk to us. And when they do, awesome. When they don't, they don't. Like that's it. That's my magic sauce right there, folks. I don't go out and I'm like, I'm gonna get Elon right now. And I think it was because like I put out like my goal for 24. I put it out there, and that's when they started like hitting me back of like chasing. And I'm like, no, I truly want to talk to chain smokers, because they're
I saw that and I thought, what? Are you trying to get chain smokers on the podcast?
Well, chain smokers have this huge like VC fund, and I want to talk more about VCs and like how that works and that whole like industry. And like I think they pick great people to work with, and they're doing some cool stuff. That was my whole reasoning. I don't want them to come on and sing. Like that's not it. And then I heard him on, I don't know, Armchair Expert or something, and I'm like, I'll never get him now, but that's fine. So anyway, sorry, I went on a little rant there about people calling me out, but it's just kind of fun for me. Like I wouldn't do the podcast if it weren't fun and interesting, because Britt and I both have like at least 40-hour long jobs a week plus. So it's not something that's easy. It's something I enjoy. Is there anything else you're thinking of, Richard, that I'm just totally blanking out?
We can talk about the game dev course if you want, if you've got time for that.
Sure, we have all the time in the world. Let's talk about it. This is
Yeah.
Phaser, right? We kind of talked
Yeah,
about
so
it last time.
this is the second course that I've done for Treehouse, and the latest. I think this is again the only game dev course on Treehouse. So first, probably not the last, but yeah, I had a lot of fun making this. This has no TypeScript; it's just pure JS, so anyone can jump into it if they want. And Phaser is a really popular library or engine for making games with JavaScript, and it's nice to be able to use it. I used it once a while back, and I enjoyed it. But the founder used created another library which I've used more of in the past. But this is the other library. But the Phaser one is on Treehouse, which
I don't know if I have it on your link tree. I always
so if you click on my go back to Treehouse, and if you click on my face or where it says teacher, and you've got game developer, that's the one. Yeah, so this is the latest one.
When did you write
it was really fun. When did I write it? Or
yeah.
When did I...
How long ago did this come out?
Last month, I think, or the month before. I can't remember.
So we didn't talk about this one. We must have just talked about that other one. This is really cool.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought this was Anyway, this is one of the longest courses I've ever worked on. Even though it's not that long, it's like 4 or 5 hours. But I go through how to make 2 games from scratch. So one is a breakout game, and one is a platformer game, like just a reasonable platform game. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to go through just using JavaScript and Phaser to make games.
That's really neat. So you didn't use a framework at all outside of like Phaser.
No. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a bit weird because I wouldn't recommend using like Svelte or React to make a game because the way it updates and the way it renders is quite different from a game. But I know people who have done it.
Have you ever tried Pixie.js by chance?
I haven't. I've heard of it. Pixie.js used to be what was behind Phaser, but they got rid of it and wrote their own rendering engine. But no, I haven't tried Pixie.js.
So I've been messing around with Pixie, creating our sneakers dojo. I've been trying to make this thing like Google has Google Adventure at I/O, and like you can bounce around and like come up to somebody and you can like talk to them, or like you bounce into a YouTube video and it opens, and then you can like be in this world checking all this stuff out. And I'm like, that'd be really neat for Coding Cat people to be able to hang out and like go in and talk.
Oh my God. You need to sit down with Kevin and talk, because Kevin is all into this stuff right now. And we've had 2 people on Svelte Radio. One was talking about Elixir. What's the Elixir? Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Phoenix. And then the next one was about XR and building he wants to build this like virtual space, and you and him just need to sit down and get together.
I will ping Kevin, because I've been thinking about this since the first time I saw this Google Adventure thing. Before it released, I got to see it, and that's been, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years ago now.
And then tell Kevin that he needs to finish one side project before he jumps on another side project.
Do you find, Richard, like making a game is like it takes a long time, like it's super complex?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a different discipline to making a website, for sure.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a little bit just about like what's your background? It seems like your courses are in different areas. So do you have like a specific niche?
I don't think so. Just teaching whatever. So I've trained to be a full stack, or predominantly front end, but full stack dev. I've done game dev on the side, and it's just like video production or like YouTube stuff also on the side. So just whatever I feel
cool.
like, really. Yeah.
I was just wondering.
Here's our sneakers dojo. So I took the little sprites, they sell them, I can't remember, I bought a pack of them, whatever, so like the background and stuff, but I got this guy to move, right? And that's it.
Oh, this is all in Pixie.
Yeah, this is all in Pixie.
Oh, nice.
And then you can go to the next world and run into somebody.
And
This is as far as I got
cool.
though, because I'm like, holy smokes, that took a long time to make.
Yeah.
It's
I think
kind of
Pixie is
a lot.
Sorry, I was going to say Pixie is a bit more lower level than a game engine, because it's like a rendering engine, so you can do a lot with it, but it's more involved.
Yeah, I felt like it was almost between like GSAP and Phaser, and I'm like, it's kind of nice to like sit in the middle. And I know that the Google I/O Adventure folks, at least they started with, I think they still used Pixie at the end of it too. But I didn't want to get into like crazy full game, but I might have to check out your course. Maybe you could stick me a coupon code or something.
Yeah, sure. I'll speak to the guys, see if they can get you.
See if they can get us 10, and we'll send them out on we'll send them out on Coding Cat socials.
Yeah, sure.
To pull it in. That'd be cool.
I'll reach out.
That sounds good. Anything else I'm missing before we jump into our picks?
Let me think. There's definitely something. I just need to get it out of my head.
We'll watch his videos.
We did give like a sneak peek of something earlier by accident, like this React course.
Oh, the React course. Okay. No, I could talk about that. Yeah. So there's a developer, UK-based developer called Amigos Code. I've mentioned him to you a while back, but Nelson from Amigos Code, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've seen you've got a lot of stuff on YouTube. I've seen you're teaching a lot, and there aren't a lot of Black people teaching coding stuff. So do you want to come onto my platform and teach something?" So I said, "Yeah. What would you like me to teach?" And he said, "Can you teach React? Because I don't have a React course or like a beginner React course." So I said I'd do that. So I've recorded most of it. I'd say 95% complete. Just a few more recordings to go, and I don't know when he wants to release it, but maybe end of this year, next year, he'll release it at some point. But yeah, it's fun to do that.
So is that this course? That's
the correct website. Yeah, so Amigos Code. It will be on there at some point in the future. Nice. I don't know when, but
so we might have to add an additional little update to this video if it releases by the time this comes out.
Yeah. Cool. Amigos Code, he's quite a popular YouTuber who's released courses and stuff. So
yeah, I feel like I've seen this name come across. Where's the little YouTube? There we go. Yeah, definitely. This is good stuff. Very cool. Well, that'll be exciting once that comes out. So just straight React, or did you do Next.js or
straight React?
Nice.
Straight React. Yeah, it'll be good to know like what's going on, because I think stuff happens in America tech-wise and then comes to the UK. So is Next.js like big of the people?
So I think
using it at companies.
Yeah, I think I could be getting this wrong because I don't follow the React community as closely. But they've basically said that the Create React app, the CRA, they basically said we'll probably end up stopping using that and just suggesting Next in the future.
Okay.
Didn't they update the docs? There was a whole thing with Dan Abramov like a few months ago, and this was like a whole thing when they updated the docs, and they do have like a thing that they're recommending because of React server components. It changed kind of the dynamic of how you can build an app. And I want to say it recommends Next now. And pretty much the entire React core team left Meta and is now working for Vercel. So they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it was a pretty big shift. I mean, you still have some folks working on Remix that are still working on like React Router and things like that. So they're kind of all over the place. But
they're at Shopify too.
Yeah, last I checked for the Well,
sorry, oh, you didn't know that they got bought by Remix got bought by Shopify.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Last I checked though, like the Create React app, like portion of this is probably like it'll exist, but it won't become the recommended way. So Next is just it's blown up
because you can't use server components in Create React app.
Yeah,
I don't know how you could because it doesn't have a server.
Yeah, so it's kind of starting to help tell the whole story. Any of these meta frameworks are. I mean, that's if you listen to Rich talk about Svelte, like Svelte Kit is the way to begin with an app now. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think so because it's it's making you full stack by default. If you want to be front end, you can't. You have to be full stack. But from my experience in the UK, I haven't seen that hitting as many companies. I hear it in America, but I don't see companies going, "Oh, let's build an app with Next." It's always React first before Next. So maybe eventually it'll come down the line.
That's really interesting.
I think a lot of enterprise companies will still build something more typeful and something on the server. They will build with something not JavaScript based on the server. So
yeah, I think
I could see that.
There's a lot of like API middle management layers in there. And so if you just need something reactive on the front end, they can throw in React or whatever language there is. I think if you're running Greenfield or you're just getting started, though, I would be shocked if they don't have like a Next.js. Even when you're calling APIs, like it makes sense because you can switch between ISR, SSR, SSG.
I think like Little Caesars here recently like switched to Next.js. It was like a big thing. Or they did Gatsby and then they switched to Next.
I might have to. I know somebody that works over there. I'll chat with them and see, because that's really interesting story. Maybe we could have him on. Cool. Well, Richard, I think if that's good, we're going to jump into our perfect picks.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
I'm going to do mine first because I'm so stoked about it. Like everyone keeps telling me to watch this. I usually go last, but I can't it's so cool. So Slow Horses on Apple TV has like grasped my attention. And for myself, I don't watch a lot of like English shows. I don't know why. It's just like the humor or something is just a little off for me. This has got me.
Right.
Like usually I don't like The Office, right? Like I can't watch the original Office. I'm sorry. It's just not for me. But this show, it's really sweet. And I was like, Richard's on. It's an English show. Like we got to tie all this together.
I'm sure that it's an Apple show. They have just done so well with production value and everything.
Really have.
Every show I've seen on there has been good.
Even this one below it. This will be my pick on our next podcast. So don't tell anybody.
So I've never heard of this show before. What's it about?
Yeah, so it's a kind of, well, what it says there is pretty key, this dysfunctional part. So it's I believe the correct term is MI5, and these are like the people who screwed up essentially, and they're locked in this crappy little, I'll call it apartment, even though it's somewhat secure area. And they're kind of like the misfits of the MI5 trying to figure out this situation that's occurring. And then like you have the full blown, isn't it in like a glass egg? Like, isn't that the structure? Does that have a name? You know what I'm talking about? Like where the MI5 exists, or like your version of CIA, it's in this like giant looking thing.
No, that's something else. That's called the Gherkin. They're in a separate building. But I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Now I'm getting my buildings mixed up. Anyways, so like everybody else is in the cool, nice building, and these guys are all like just misfits. Like they messed up in some fashion. And there's kind of a story that I won't give away too much because it'll give away a lot of the show, but like something happens and the dysfunctional people have to kind of like step in to fix all of this stuff. So it's just really well written. It's a really good show. So
that sounds cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Check it out for sure. Who wants to go next?
Richard, go.
I'm happy to go. Yeah. So mine is the Paw Patrol movie, but there's some preamble before. So the Paw Patrol in the UK, if anyone has Netflix in the UK and watches Paw Patrol, they'll have British accents. So the pups have got British accents, the riders have got a British accent.
That's so funny.
And that's all I know. That's all my daughter knows. And so on YouTube, if you watch Paw Patrol, they have American accents, which is weird. So in the film, when we watched the film, I was hoping they would have British accents and then not the American ones, because I think the British accents sound better because it sounds more. I think Ryder's voice in British accent is deeper than his American accent voice, and it just seems better, like for his height, and I don't know. But anyway, so I was hoping it was British, and luckily it was. So the pups.
It was.
Wow. Yeah. Ryder's British, and everyone else is American.
Wow,
So,
really?
What?
Yeah,
That's so
100%.
weird.
Yeah. So
Now I'm really curious, like how many other countries that they like do or like kind of mix in like the sounds from too.
yeah, I think it just might be Paw Patrol. I think most other things keep the American accents because I've watched a bunch of other stuff and it keeps American. But yeah, I don't
How
know why.
like on spot are the words? They must be like it's English.
Well,
to
I
English.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
an
English, yeah.
animated. That's not a person.
I know, but like I've watched some that are translated from Japanese because Oliver watches anime stuff all the time, and like when I watch that and it's in English, I'm like, oh, this looks really bad.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's perfect. Like the voiceovers they match the movement of the mouth. It's perfect.
And
That's
I guess,
awesome.
I mean, it's English and British.
Right.
It's not like it's a different language. They're actually saying the same words.
Are we sure? Because like last week, I think chips are
I mean-
fries and fries or something.
Yeah, no,
How's
there
the
are different
whole
words
thing
for
go?
in here.
There's like
I
a there's
wasn't
a,
here last week, but there are lots of words like that.
Yeah, there are lots of different words. We can talk about that if you want, but there are lots of different words that you guys use that we use different words for.
I'm gonna send
Like
you guys.
biscuits are not cookies.
I'm gonna send you guys the clip from Ted Lasso where he's like talking about how a boot doesn't go on your foot, but like a trunk goes somewhere. I don't know. I'll send it to you guys. It's hilarious. Like
I think I know the one you're talking about.
All right, Brittany, not a show.
No, I picked a restaurant. I was like trying to figure out something and scrambling, and I had picked this on Svelte Radio, and we were talking before, and Alex said he had never heard of this, and I'm like, okay, now I have to pick it because we have to talk about it. Every time I go to a place that they have one of these restaurants, I have to find one, and now I think Google knows that, and it has this big giant logo on Google Maps, and it shows me where the nearest one is to where I'm going anytime I look up a place, which is great. But they're amazing. They have a great happy hour. 130 beers on tap at every single one.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
They have poke nachos is like my favorite dish that they have, and happy hour is $7 for poke nachos. Like you can't find a better deal. It's seriously what they're famous for is the Yard House beer, and it is a yard, so 3 feet of a tall glass of beer.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Back to the poke nacho. So the poke is that the Japanese type thing?
Poke is ahi tuna, so it's raw tuna.
Fine. Okay.
Yep, and it's kind of marinated in teriyaki and other things, and then they have wonton nacho chips that they put it on with like avocado, seaweed.
Oh wow!
I mean, it's fantastic.
That sounds insane.
So which one have you been to? Chicago?
I have been to Chicago, and I've been to the one in Denver when I just went a few weeks ago with my company.
Nice. Huh. It's a cool place. I'll have to check it out next time we're in Detroit.
The poke nachos are at the top there, the very top.
Wow.
Yeah.
Making me hungry. Holy smoke. Very cool. Well, Richard, thank you so much for joining us once again in 2024 when this will release. I can't wait to see like what you release this year too. Like I feel like every year you've stepped up your game and like something cool comes out. So I think it's really dope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's great to have you.
It's good to chat. Yeah, good to chat to you guys. Brittany for the first time, but yeah, Alex again.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time.